And salutations, summoners. This is once again your man with the plan, Anthony RicoPlays 1723, and welcome to episode number 5 of the Casual Tryhard Legends of Runeterra podcast. And today things go back to a little bit normal. Last week, Kristos had his contracted vacation time, so that's why he was not there last week. But this week we got him back. How's it going, Kristos?
Hey, everybody. I am back from my weekend vacation, and we're back on the grind, hitting the ladder hard, and everything's going pretty good.
That is awesome to hear. So just kind of wanted to give ourselves a little bit of a pat on our backs, because we kind of called exactly what would happen on the Cosmic Creation Tournament front. As we've mentioned before in episode number 3, over the weekend was the big Cosmic Creation Tournament, and it was held in all the different regions. And we had some great games. I don't know if you saw any tournaments, Kristos, but I happened to catch a little bit of the Southeast Asia, the Europe, and the Americas.
Yeah, I caught some of the EU one. I ended up being towards the end of almost all of them, but I watched the EU one and the NA one, and they were good quality. I predicted that they were going to be good quality productions, and they lived up to that, so that made me happy. I thought overall they were well run and orchestrated, and everything was fairly clear. Like, if you were a new player watching this, I felt like you could understand things, and that's a good place to be.
The only thing that I will say, but that just shows you how on top of Riot was, there was actually a moment where Raptor, who made it to the semifinals, so we weren't wrong there, folks. He actually lost. He actually lost to the eventual champion, Majin Bay. But there was actually an incident where his in-game client wasn't working, and it paired him off with the wrong person. So there was like some delay there, but Riot was pretty much on top of it. So we just wanted to make sure to congratulate the winners. So Majin Bay, well done at the Americas. UCG, Boom Timo from Asia, love the name. Petish from Europe, who's actually Russian. That was a very interesting final in that match. And then to Mr. Baylor from Southeast Asia, congratulations. So as I said, we were pretty much basically absolutely correct when it came down to the numbers of what champions we saw and what decks we saw. And without a doubt, the most played champion was Twisted Fate. Then, which we said, number 2 was Aphelios. And then number 3 was Fizz. TF Fizz was absolutely everywhere. I think it was like the stat was it was like 75% or 80% of all of the competitors' lineups, which was just crazy. And then I was happy to see, though, I will say, your boy Raptor, Kristos, he brought some spice as his...
He's innovative as always.
Yeah, he brought some spice as his third deck in his lineup. It was a Vi Riven deck, and I was super happy to see that we actually got to see it play. As I said, unfortunately, he went down in the semifinals, but man, Raptor, man, that was crazy to see.
Yeah, really like high level play from the players. I didn't expect to see like the way that you can tell when somebody's playing well and when they're just kind of in the zone and doing things exactly as they need to be when you watch enough coverage. And I could see that from this weekend. People were like just on the ball, really, really high level stuff across the board, and it's always great to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I felt that the matches that I saw, there weren't really many mistakes. I mean, there was like 2 or 3 big, I would say, blunders. But, you got to understand, too, that these are humans playing, and, mistakes can happen. They're in a huge environment. They're playing for their tournament lives. They know that they're being streamed, so it does happen. So please, listeners, if you can, don't be one of those listeners or chat members that just totally call out any mistake and then just make it into a big deal and then believe that you're better than that person that's playing. Because if that was the case, you would be playing that tournament and not that person that you're watching. So these mistakes happen. We're humans, and it's just a chance to live and grow. Because I'm not gonna lie, Kristos, this was basically my first time really watching a tourney and then actually kind of paying attention to chat. And dear me, there are some characters in chat.
Twitch chat specifically, and to a lesser extent, like YouTube and every social media platform, honestly, it just can be toxic. And I feel for the pros who make a mistake on camera, and especially like minorities that don't normally get as much representation as maybe they should. And if they make a mistake, they just get like ransacked by people who don't actually know what they're saying.
Yeah, 100%. And even though these players are trying to become, Runeterra pros, they're also, most of them are also, doing 30, 40-hour weeks as well, One of the contestants, he actually went 5-0 to go to the top 32 Kevlar. Mm-hmm. He's also a chef. So can you imagine being a full-time chef working those hours and then performing that well in a card game tournament? Like that's crazy. So, just wanted to make sure we did mention that hey, give these people some slack. Like they're living their lives and playing at this high level, so mistakes do happen. We're going to get to the real nitty-gritty of this episode, which I'm sure everyone is super excited to talk about, because I know that I am. And that is going to be the expansion of Shurima. Am I pronouncing that right? I just want to make sure.
Yes, sir. Shurima.
Of Shurima, and what comes with that. The new champions, the new cards, the new keywords. A lot of stuff is happening during this patch, so we're going to definitely talk about that and get to the nitty-gritty, because there is definitely a lot going on. So
it's a really cool set. I think there's going to be a lot of changes to specifically aggro strategies that you'll see on ladder with champions like Redacted, and I also think this set is really great for the lore, and the themes feel really good. It feels exactly like what Riot's been trying to push Shurima towards for ever and ever. And it's really cool to see.
The cards do look great. So the new expansion is the Empires of the Ascended. There's going to be 110 new cards, and including is going to be the new region Shurima, 9 champions, and the new keywords. The new keywords we're going to talk about real quickly, just because they're newer. But I feel like if you played card games, you kind of know what they're going for. So the first new keyword that I wanted to talk about is going to be, which is my favorite right now, I think, is going to be Predict. So Predict says you pick a card from among 3 in your deck, and then you shuffle the deck and put that card on top. So I think it was you, Kristos, who said that it was very similar to 2 things in Magic, right?
Yeah, so Predict and the new magic mechanic from Kaldheim is Foretell. So they both have the same, like, future. I predict the future. I foretell the future.
Hey.
So that kind of got me. But it's most similar to Scry from Magic. When you look at the top and then pick one, that's an anticipate effect.
Yes.
In Magic. But, yeah, Predict is really cool. I'm actually a sucker for Slay. I like fight mechanics. In Magic, like a Gruul deck is my ladder deck of choice in that, so that's really kind of where my focus has been.
I think it's also interested. So Slay, it's killing an ally or enemy by using your cards via damage, strike, or direct kill effect, granting a credit for slaying. So you're going to see new cards that are going to say something like get +1/+1 for each creature that you've slain. That's going to start building up as the game goes. I also find it interesting that they did not mention Obliterate as well. So listeners, please put that into your calculations, that Obliterate does not really count with Slay. Because I would say Obliterate is more like an exile effect for you Magic players out there.
Yeah.
Where Slay is more of like a direct kill damage type of thing. Keyword that we're going to talk about is Reputation. So it activates if allies have struck for 5+ damage at least 4 times this game. So some of those effects are pretty aggro intensive because
they're focused for like the beatdowns.
Yes,
That's definitely like where I noticed most of them. There's a Bone Crusher card that reduces its mana by 2 if you have this activated. I think that's like a really insane rate. It's like a 2 mana 6/5, 6/4.
That's pretty broken. But
yeah, it's such a good rate for the card. It's wild.
I think it should be like that because I would imagine that trying to get reputation would be a little bit more on the difficult side.
I would think so, but I would imagine you'd be able to build your deck around it. We haven't seen too many decks come out yet because the set is so new.
Right.
This card is called Callous Bone Crusher. It's normally 4 mana, has reputation. I cost 2 instead, and it is a 6/3.
Oh man, that's pretty good if you can get it.
It's a big boy. Yeah. I think that card is like really good. Slots into like your Overwhelm deck probably super well if you can play like a cheap 6/3 and just go from there.
No,
sounds pretty good to me.
As an Overwhelm player, I'm super happy with this with this expansion, but we'll get to that later. And then the last couple keywords. These are keywords that, like this one we've already kind of seen, but this is the first time that like Riot put an actual name to it. This keyword is called Focus, and it works like Burst, but can't be cast in combat or in response to a spell. So I'm sure you've seen it on Ladder Kristos, but it's basically like your gem. You know how gem speed works? Mm-hmm. They just basically took that and now gave it a keyword, so now it's called Focus. And then the next 2 keywords are simpler. This is Countdown. Countdown says round start, 1 countdown at 0, destroy me, and activate the countdown effect.
Yep. This is just your time clock. Everybody knows how. They're very easy to remember. Remember your upkeep triggers, kids, in Magic.
Yes. Oh man, upkeep triggers. I got war stories, man, flashing in my head. And then the last one is Advance. And basically you decrease the value of the specified countdown by a certain amount. So basically you'll see countdown on landmarks, and then for advanced, if you do something to trigger the advance clause, then it counts down much quicker. So those were kind of the keywords that I wanted to make sure to go over. Those are going to be the new things that you're going to see. So before we get into the cards and into the expansion and what we want to really get into, I just want to talk about this interesting nerf that Riot did. So they decided to nerf Aphelios. They nerfed it from a 3/3/3 to a 3/3/2, and then when it becomes a level 2, instead of it being a 4/4, it becomes a 4/3. So my assumption is that they're trying to make it have more options for you to have counterplay against Aphelios. But Kristos, the thing that I don't understand, and it boggles my mind, that after looking at all of this data from the tournament, how in the world did Twisted Fate not get some sort of nerf? Or at least a portion of that deck? Because Twisted Fate and Burblefish were just everywhere all the time. There was a part, man, where I saw on turn 5 a Twisted Fate level up, and I almost like threw up on the screen, man. Like, how?
That is disgusting.
How in the world does Riot not make a nerf now? How?
I don't know. I think someone on the dev team loves Twisted Fate and just won't do it. They can't bring themselves to nerf it.
I know that to his credit, though, Steve Rubin did like make a little tweet about it, and he was saying that like, hey, like, we get it, this is on our watch list.
Yeah.
But man, if you're gonna nerf Aphelios, you should have just nerfed Twisted Fate as well.
I think they will. I think it'll happen eventually.
No, my assumption is that after like 2 weeks of this expansion, they're gonna do a little patch, and they're gonna nerf Twisted Fate.
I can see that because TF is probably like, we don't know for sure because Riot's API doesn't allow us to see this, but I imagine TF is very dominant on solo queue ladder.
I would agree 100%.
Yeah. So we'll see something here shortly.
So now let's talk about the cards and champions. So there's 9 new champions, and there's a couple of them that already started making its way through, the Twitterverse about champions that might be broken or champions that are definitely going to affect the metagame. And I already have my eyes on one, and I think you know which champion that is, Kristos.
Who could that be?
But man, do I love me some Renekton. Oh yes, my goodness gracious. So Renekton is a 4-mana 4/4 with Overwhelm, of course. And its keyword and its abilities to level up are: when I challenge an enemy, give me +2/+1 this round. And to level me up, I've dealt, so that specific Renekton has dealt 12 plus damage. So as long as you do a build around, because you're going to need to build around with a lot of challenge and vulnerable effects to kind of make Renekton the best that it possibly can be. Man, it's Overwhelm, and I gotta have it in. I'm definitely going to be, this is going to be my first deck that I'm going to try out. And what I also really, sorry, go for it.
No, I'm just saying, I think this card is like an insane top deck in almost every situation.
Yep, for sure.
Unless you're like factual, empty-handed. If you draw this card, it is insane.
Absolutely. And I also love that it's one of the new Ascended champions. So, ladies and gentlemen, this card has 3. Not 2,
3. But
3 versions of itself. So after it levels up the first time, it becomes a 5/5 Overwhelm with, if you attack with it, give me +3/+3 this round. So while I'm attacking with this puppy, or should I say with this crocodile, it's going to be an 8/8 Overwhelm. I'm in love. But wait,
beautiful.
There's more. If you level this version, and to level up, you need to have restored the Sun Disk, and we'll talk about what the Sun Disk is. It then becomes a 10/10 Overwhelm with ability that when I block or attack, deal 2 to enemies and the enemy nexus.
Massive.
What more do I want in life than
Nothing.
to get a...
This is your end all be all.
A 10/10 Overwhelm that allows me, when I block or attack, I deal 2 to the enemies and the enemy nexus. And the animations on this puppy, oh my word.
Oh my god, they're so good. Like, they are... I cannot stress this. Riot's art department is insane at everything they do, but the animations for the level ups in this set are so good. Ugh.
There is one of the famous streamers basically said, instead of doing like power creep, they did animation creep this expansion, because some of these animations look absolutely beautiful. I love Renekton. I think I'm gonna definitely try it out. In terms of the metagame, I do believe there are going to be some strong Renekton decks out there. I just don't know if it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be the number one deck like a TF Burblefish type of thing, because the level ups aren't always easy to achieve, and you're going to have to build the deck so that you do have a lot of challenge and vulnerable capabilities to it,
Yeah, like, that's the problem with these new sets. We're never sure how well they stack up against the prior stuff. And
right.
If you do power creep right, sometimes it won't, and sometimes it will. And maybe this is the won't time. Like, we're not 100% sure because it is so new, but it could. And that's kind of where we're at right now.
What's one of the cards that you have on your eyesight?
I am a Talia fan, personally.
Okay.
Yeah, I like Talia in League of Legends. And she gets no love there. So I'm hoping she gets a little bit of attention here. She's just such a cool design, like an earthbender that is just in the desert vibing, making walls and stuff.
Well, tell us about her.
So Talia plays really well with landmarks. So when you play Talia, she's a 5-mana 2/4. When you play her, she summons an exact copy of a landmark you have. So if that's a creature that you make that was a landmark and is now a creature, you can copy that and make a creature. Great. Or you can make a landmark that's just already sitting there. And then once you summon 5 landmarks, she levels up into a 3/5 that when she attacks, deals 2 damage to her blocker. If it's dead or gone, deal 2 damage to the enemy nexus. And if you have a landmark, you copy this 2 more times. So she's kind of like this head of this puzzle that you're trying to put together with all these landmarks. And if you do it, it's insane, but you kind of have to jump through some hoops. So really, when you're building these Talia decks, you have to be mindful of your deck building decisions. Do you have enough landmarks to field a Talia? And then do you have enough Talia support to make the landmarks worth it? And that's kind of the balancing that we're trying to figure out right now.
If you happen to see the YouTube video, that is that combo where she makes a copy of the landmark to then make 3 copies of herself out of nowhere, and then she throws rocks at the nexus. I was like, whoa, baby.
Yeah, she can do insane damage out of nowhere.
So she's going to be interesting. Do you think that is she going to define the metagame more or less than Renekton? Because I have a champion that I know 100% is going to change things.
I think maybe more than Renekton, because we'll see more landmark stuff, and Renekton fits into the Darius-esque decks already, but Talia kind of carves her own niche into things.
Heard.
So in that sense, I think we'll see a little bit more of Talia than Renekton, because we don't know if like Renekton is a better or worse Darius.
True.
Yeah, and then Talia is like in her own kind of place. She's the first of her kind, so she kind of has to be at the forefront if she's going to be there at all.
I think you're right, because if they also do keep on testing things out with landmarks in the future expansions, like I think they're always going to find a home in this Talia deck. So I would agree with you. You're right. But the champion that I feel in my heart of hearts that I think is going to change the metagame is going to be Lysandra. Lysandra is going to give the more typical control players the deck that they want to play control with in Runeterra.
Yeah, she provides answers to things that we didn't have answers to prior.
Correct.
So she has AoE, she has single target, destroy this creature or this unit. She has make your nexus stronger so you can maybe dodge out that last point of burn that kills you. And those things are all right up a control player's alley. Like, I want to live just a little bit longer, kill all your things just to turn more, and then turn the corner and win. So that's where she'll be, and that's where she'll stay.
She, like, some of the cards that have come with her in this expansion are bonkers. For 3 mana, Ice Shard, a fast spell that does 1 to everything. As a pirate aggro player, I'm already like crying. Because
shiver me timbers, shaking in your boots.
Shiver me timbers, I'm shaking in my boots. Because just that one card is going to be a complete issue for me, without a doubt. Then they also have Blighted Ravine, which is a landmark. A 4-mana landmark. When I'm summoned, heal Nexus 4, and then count down 1, deal 2 to everything. So that's another.
So good.
It is. Like, I think it's phenomenal. And another AoE spell that I'm now going to have to worry about, which is going to be an issue. And then the card that I think is really going to make this control shell really good is Three Sisters. So Three Sisters is a 1-mana burst spell, and in there you get to create a fleeting flash freeze, Fury of the North, or Entomb. And the reason why I feel like this card is going to make a difference is that in control, not that I play a lot of control, folks. We're actually going to have our control expert come on next week episodes. But in control, what you're trying to do is basically always have an answer to what's happening on the board or what your opponent is doing. What usually gives control problems is that they'll have an answer but not to the right problem on the board or what their opponent's doing. Mm-hmm. So what this card allows you to do is it allows you to pick the correct answer. So it's not just a dead card. Granted, I understand that card will be fleeting, but as a control player, you don't really care because sometimes you just need, you're dealing with this huge dam and everything's about to go crazy, and sometimes all you need is that little piece of tape to cover the hole. And I think with Three Sisters, it's going to allow control players to kind of get those answers when they need it and have less dead cards in their hands. So
that's exactly right.
As the aggro player, I am extremely extremely scared about that card.
This card is a cryptic command.
Sure?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about
that. It's
the
modal answer everything. My savior, please let me top deck this one time for the one time. And it's just really good. It's it has answers to everything, and that's exactly what control players need. And as much as I don't like playing control on letter, this card is tempting me as I'm looking at it. So we'll see how that goes.
I'm the same way. I can't. As I said, Logan's coming on next week, and I can't wait to ask him all these questions because I don't know, man. I'm looking at these cards and I'm just like, oh man, aggro's gonna have. I feel like aggro's gonna have a little bit of a difficulty, but however, in this new expansion, aggro does have some very, very nice tools. One of them specifically that I wanted to talk about is Dune Keeper. It's a 1 mana. When I'm summoned, summon a Sand Soldier. So for the first time, I think in any card game that I've ever played, I've never seen this before, that a 1 mana card basically gives you 2 bodies in 1 cheap cost. I don't think I've ever seen that in Magic either.
I don't believe so. I think that would be busted. It might be busted here.
That's what I'm saying. I think I think it might be busted here, man.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, I think this card for the aggressive decks is going to be absolutely sensational, and then it's also going to synergize with if there's going to be a Sand Soldier archetype. And then just any type of swarm or go wide type of decks that may come out like with Lucian or Callista, I think this card is going to be a 3 of without a doubt. And then sometimes all you really need is that 1 chump block, because when you hit when the attack turn comes to you, you got the game. And to be able to do 2 bodies with 1 mana, man,
to theoretically have your opponent dead turn 3, because you have more cards in hand that you can play next turn and kill him.
That's just that's nuts. And then going along with kind of the aggro strategy, this next card, without a doubt, is going to change the game, and it's Rite of Negation, a 4 mana fast spell that says kill an ally or destroy one of your mana gems to stop all enemy fast spells, slow spells, and skills. This card, first off, this allows a deny effect into another region, which is super important because I know a lot of decks played Iona just for the deny effect. But now that this effect is going to Shurima, which is looking like the region itself tends to be more aggressive, I think this card is going to be huge. This card, even though you look at it and you're like, oh man, destroy one of your own mana gems or kill your own ally. Basically, if you have this card in your deck, you're probably going to be playing in an aggro deck, so you're going to have a lot of units on the field anyway, And as the game goes on later on, those little creatures start just becoming like chump blockers. So you're gonna have a lot of fuel there. And then number 2, this card is basically gonna be the card that says, I win the game. Because there's going to be a point where your opponent's going to do something that's going to turn the game around for them. You play this, you stop whatever they're doing, dust your hands off, man, because you just won the game. GG. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's GG. You just won the game. You don't care that you lost a unit or destroy one of your mana gems. Like, as Profe used to tell me all the time,
really hard to play around.
You try to win the game. So I don't know, man. This card I think is going to change a lot as well. This card I'm going to keep on my radar, and I don't like to do a lot of predictions, but this might be a card that becomes on Riot's watch list. I don't know.
You think so?
But it's powerful, man. Like, this, as an aggro player,
it is very powerful.
I love this card. Like, it's going to help me, you know, I'm going to set up my board, I'm going to swing with everything, and, you know, let's say they miss their ice shard on 3, and they're trying to do it later on in the game. Cool job, man. I just denied that. Like, or, hey, I'm about to do this big sweeper, or, hey, I'm about to do, I can't tell you how many times I'm about to win the game, and then opponent does Starscaping, and they heal themselves for 5, and then they get to invoke. Hey, boom, that just got Rite of negated. What are you gonna do now? Like, I don't know. I really feel this card is gonna be super important.
I think this card will see maybe the most play out of any card in the set, probably. But it's either that or the Bone Crusher, the Callous Bone Crusher. It's either those two are like my 2 from the set to really shift the metagame.
I'm with you, man. If Shurima becomes a very, very much played region, it's going to be because of this card. Because that's crazy. But, Kristos, I do know that there's a little issue that you have with Riot about one of the champions. So I want to make sure.
You want to talk about this?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. People are going to love this one, dude. I want to make sure that I give you your little here's your soapbox, man. Here's your little 2 to 3 minutes, man. Go have at it. What did Riot mess up?
So LeBlanc is a champion in League of Legends. She was just revealed from her little spoiler that she had on, was it yesterday? The day before? Tuesday the 2nd. We'll put it that way. And she just doesn't fit the lore. Nothing about her fits the lore. It's awful. I can't explain to you how much this infuriates me that a champion that is known... LeBlanc is the deceiver. She's like the master. She can mimic all of her stuff and gets in and out without being noticed and tricks people. And she is not a 5-2 with quick attack. That is not who LeBlanc is. This is going to drive me insane. She's a magician, a spellcaster. She is like a tempo card at best and not a 5-2 for 3 with quick attack. I don't know how you missed so much when you're designing this. I just don't get it.
I can say that you are not the only person that felt this way. There were certain Discord channels and in certain Twitter threads that people were just super tilted about how they did LeBlanc.
Like the Twitter thread revealing her, only flame. Only people. No one's like, oh, this card's super good. Number 1, she's like a bad rate. Like a 3-mana 5-2 is kind of dog.
Right.
And then all of her mimics are okay-ish, but they cost a ton. Like her Sigil of Malice is 4 mana to deal 2 to everything, which, is good. But like, that's not what LeBlanc does. LeBlanc like assassinates like one thing and then gets out. Like, so her mimics need to be like kill this thing, and then I'm shielded for like half a turn or something like that, but not deal all this damage. And then her mimics are just not, the names are right, but the effects are wrong. So it's like looking at this wish ordered version of the champion you love. You know what I mean?
Right. Wish ordered. Oh my god.
No, LeBlanc shouldn't be like this. Like, Riot knows how to do lore, and they just 180 degree made some garbage, and everyone hates it. I hate it. I hope it gets changed before she actually gets released. That's my rant. I'm done.
Riot, change LeBlanc. And then
please.
And then the last kind of champion that I wanted to make sure to talk about, just because their effect is so unique, and it's going to be super interesting to see how everything plays out with this champion. That champion, of course, is going to be Azir. So Azir
is so cool.
Yes. I think the effect is going to be crazy, but yeah, let me explain it. So Azir, just like Renekton, and is just like Nasus. Am I saying that right? Mm-hmm. Nasus?
Yep, Nasus.
Nasus. Just like Nasus, or part of your ascended champions, meaning that they have 3 levels. So Azir's first level is when allies attack, summon an attacking Sand Soldier. Notice that this is the second or third time we've talked about Sand Soldiers, so I really think there's going to be a archetype involving Sand Soldiers, because it's going to be involving going wide. So when allies attack, summon an attacking Sand Soldier. To level up, you've summoned 10 units. So I can just and it's a 1/5. So just from hearing that, I definitely feel that Azir's probably going to go in a swarm type of deck involving a bunch of Sand Soldiers, trying to level it up. Go for it, sorry. So
Azir is the perfect weenie card, a bunch of small creatures into big, eventually they just kill you on pretty quick because they swarm the board and you're dead. And unlucky you got. But he's super tanky. So with spot removal, it deals the cards that you want for weenie are deal 1 to everything, deal 2 to everything, that sort of thing. But Azir has 5 toughness.
Good point.
So what are you supposed to do?
Very good point. That's gonna be, I didn't think about that. That's a good point, man.
Yeah, you see this on the ladder, right? Where you just get run over by a bunch of tutus, and you're all right.
That's
whatever.
me. That's me.
Yeah, it just happens to everybody. But Azir is so strange. He works really good, and even just a creature deck, just a creature based deck, he can just kind of slot in there, and he's this big army in a can card where if you don't answer him, he's just gonna kill you eventually.
Absolutely, because his next level is pretty good too. So when he gets leveled up, his keywords say when allies attack, summon an attacking Sand Soldier, and then when you summon an ally, give us both +1/+0, and now he's a 2/6. So kind of also granting that little bit of Anthem effect, which you always want to see in weenies. And then his third level comes when you've restored the Sun Disc. We'll get to the Sun Disc. Once you restored the Sun Disc, he becomes a 6/6. When I level up, replace your deck with the Emperor's deck, then draw 1. When allies attack, summon an attacking Sandstone Charger. So when I first read this, I'm like, what the heck is an Emperor's deck? And what are you talking about? I have my own deck. So for those of you who are familiar with Shadowverse and Prince Cocteau, which was an incredibly annoying card, basically when you level Azir to level 3, your deck gets replaced with an Emperor's deck, and the cards that are inside the Emperor's deck are absolutely broken. It is crazy the cards that you see. Just to name a couple of examples that you'll see a card like this: Sandstorm, obliterate 3 enemy units or landmarks.
Yep.
You'll see cards like Emperor's Prosperity, burst, draw 2.
Like the game is going to end.
Yes, and my favorite, Ascended's Call. It's slow, but Ascended's Call. Summon Renekton and Nasus. Immediately level them up to level 3. Are you kidding me?
You're dead. I just want to say, when Azir attacks and he's level 3, you're getting hit for 11 because he summons a 5/2 attacking.
Oh my! Oh, I didn't even think about that, dude. This car? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. So like Azir has the ultimate late game where you just can't lose if you do the things that it says. Like if you return the Sun Disc, you're winning the game. You just are. You're just winning the game. That's like not a bad place to be.
Listeners, there's a 2 mana card. It's called Emperor's Guard. 2 mana, has Fearsome, a 5/4. When I'm summoned, draw 1. Forget it. I'm done. What?
Yeah. So
just hit surrender. Just hit surrender when Azir gets to level 3. I don't know what else to say. Are you kidding me?
You just FF. Go next.
That's incredible. And as I said, this is like a new effect that we've never seen in Legends of Runeterra before. So I'm glad with this expansion, and which is why I always love Legends of Runeterra. But I love the places that they go in terms of design space. Like that's nuts. Like you're allowing your players, when they level up this card, to have a different deck that's super busted.
It's so cool. Like Shurima is one of the coolest planes, or not even planes.
Regions
in Runeterra. Like it's ancient Egypt, but if you turn all the mythology on and max it to 11.
Ooh, I love that. That sounds good.
It's just so cool. Like there's so much cool stuff, and I encourage everyone to read about it, even if you don't like League of Legends, but you want to know like more about Runeterra and the places that they're going. Shurima is the coolest. It's right up there with Zon for me.
Just talking about Shurima real quick, and just because we mentioned it before, the Sun Disc, which I find, once again, super interesting design space. For 1 mana, buried Sun Disc. Start of the game. Draw 1 of me if all of your cards are Shuriman. I don't know how to pronounce that. Shuriman, thank you. All your cards are Shuriman. So that's super interesting. You are now rewarding your players for creating a deck that's just filled with Shuriman cards, which is, I think, like super interesting. And then it has countdown 25. It's going to take you about 25 turns on the regular. If you do that, you get to restore the Sun Disc. However, when you have an Ascended ally level up, advance me 10 rounds. So if you level one of your, either Azir, Nasus, or Renekton, you're going to advance this 10 rounds, and once you restore the Sun Disc, it basically like levels up or it levels up most of your champions to the level 3, but you get to immediately draw 1 of all of your ascendants, and for the rest of your game, the level 2 ascendants are now level 3.
Yeah, I think this is really cool. I don't know if there's going to be like a turbo ascension deck. Probably not.
Believe, Kristos. Believe!
I think the easiest one to do is probably Renekton. Like, again, if you're able to do this, you win the game. So, like, that's just cool design space in and of itself, because it's like a rewarding. You've gone through like the trials, more or less, to do this, and then bam, you're rewarded with a big W. And who doesn't love that?
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. I find, as I said, Riot does an amazing job trying to try new things. Sometimes they miss the point, LeBlanc, but I'm really excited for this new expansion. I can't wait to get in there and start playing. It actually came out at the time of recording, but life happens where Kristos and I have jobs, so we haven't been able to play much of it. Or at least I know I haven't. Have you been able to play a little bit of it yet, Kristos?
I have really only watched.
Okay.
I've watched like probably like 10 hours of people playing, and I've gathered that the Atelier decks are pretty neat in combo with Lysandra, and then the Renekton kind of beatdown strats are about as good as I expected them to be.
Let's go.
So they're pretty good. Yeah, they're pretty good. But outside of that, I haven't seen too much Sivir, I haven't seen Nasus, and I saw Azir, and it didn't look very good. But he was playing like a weirdo deck, so I don't put too much weight into that.
Did you see anyone play Jarvan?
I have not. I have not seen a Jarvan deck.
Because Jarvan, I think, is going to be interesting. I'm not a fan of like the elite strategy, so I don't see myself playing that deck really.
Yeah, it's not for me either. So
okay.
Kind of just don't even want to like. I don't want to not talk about it, but it's just not for me.
Yeah, there are going to be players that like the elite strategy, which is fine because everyone should play the way that they want to play. Magic the Gathering Twitter posting. Anyway, players should play the way that they want to play, but just the elite strategy is too. I don't know. For me, it's too bland. You know, it's like, hey, you have an classic, elite, like, so I have another elite, so I get the special thing, and I attack with my elites. Like, I don't know.
It's just not exciting for me.
Exactly. I like things a little more spicy. Even if I lose, I always rather play something that I enjoy.
Yeah, it's just like, it's the bland, like, cheese hamburger of the world. and you can do better. Come on, it's 2021. We can do better.
We could put in barbecue sauce, some pickles, some bacon, like something.
Dude, let me get some peanut butter on it. Let
me get some peanut butter on it. Oh my god. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now is time for the end of our episode. We had lots of fun talking about this new expansion. I cannot wait to go play it. It should be lots of fun. It should be something new and change the meta. Riot, please, please, please nerf TF, and please buff or completely change LeBlanc. Please.
Just change her.
just change her. But for our social media, hey Kristos, where can they find you?
I am on Twitter at KristosiVivo and twitch.tv/Kristosi if you want to check out my live streams.
Perfecto. And then for me on Twitter, RicoPlays1723 or El Charua Rico. So just for some of the Podbean followers over there, I did notice we got a little bit of a following from Uruguay and from Brazil. So to them, I say que no ni no, soy celeste, ya tu sabe. So come on down and just make sure to give us a tweet or a DM there. And then where can they find the podcast Twitter?
We are on twitter.com/casual_pod. Come on through. We're pretty active on there, reaching out to the community, and I would love to see some more interaction from y'all.
Yes, we also have a kind of like a Discord channel over there. If you go to our podcast Twitter and you click on it, it's going to give you to the mothership of Casual Tryhard. But on the left, we do have a little slice of that pie just to talk about Runeterra. So for any of those listeners that are maybe a little bit shy or a little bit afraid to come talk to us, don't be. We put our pants the same way like everyone else, you know, one hole at a time, I think is the saying. I don't know. I put on sweatpants, so I'm always just chilling. But just don't be afraid to come on by and just have a chat with us. We're always down to enjoy new members and to get a stronger community going. But from me, it's sayonara.
And for me, it's see you later, summoners.
I know you were saying that as a joke, man. There's no way you put peanut butter on your burgers, right?
On my mama, I put peanut butter on hamburgers. You have no idea.
Kristos!
It's so good. Listen, man.
Kristos.
This isn't some like white people. You know, This is good. It's good. Don't knock it till you try it. I swear to God, next time, make a hamburger, put some peanut butter on it. Change your world.
Kristos,
Toast the bun, put some peanut butter on it.
You're telling me right now with a straight face. You toast the bun. You put the patty.
Mm-hmm.
And then you put peanut butter.
On my life, you'll love it.
Oh my God.
On my life. I swear, anyone listening to this, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid.